Hello, and welcome to the North Central Master of Education Instant Admission webinar. My name is Marcia Webster, and I'm the Character Initiatives Outreach and Recruitment Coordinator at North Central. We're anxious to share information about our degree programs with you, and we're so glad that you've logged in to be with us today. And so let's begin. I want to start with just the agenda for how we'll move along today. First of all, I'll talk a little bit about North Central College and our Cultures of Character initiatives, and then you'll have a chance to hear from a faculty member who will provide information about the degree program. We will cover steps to apply to the program, although some of you have already done that. And then we'll also cover scholarship and assistance through our Education Alliance Partner Program, which can help you finance your education. Last but not least, we'll hear from a current candidate who will give you her perspective on taking courses at North Central in this program. Finally, we'll have an opportunity for questions and answers, and feel free to submit your questions anytime through the chat box. We will answer them at the end, but feel free to write them in when they come to mind. Our panelists today are Sharon Weiserglad, Cultures of Character Project Director, Kathleen King, Associate Professor of Education, Briannas Journey, she's a candidate in the Master of Education and Educational Leadership degree program, and then I'm Marcia Webster, the Character Initiatives Outreach and Recruitment Coordinator. So if you're not familiar with North Central, we were a small liberal arts college founded in 1861, and we're located in Naperville. And we began offering graduate degree programs about 30 years ago. And throughout all of the years, we've remained focused to offering distinctive opportunities that prepare our graduates to be thoughtful, socially responsible leaders in their field. We're regularly ranked in U.S. News and World Report for our teaching excellence. And when you enroll at North Central, we want to help you discover new ways to think. And through a network of partnerships, you'll have the opportunity to learn from people who have been where you want to go. We're proud that our Master of Education degree programs are aligned and endorsed with professional organizations such as the Illinois Association for Supervision and Curriculum Development, the Illinois Principals Association, and the DuPage and Kane County Regional Offices of Education, and the West 40 Intermediate Service Center in Western Cook County, which is also a regional office of education. Last but not least, we have a high success rate and placement among our alumni. We're very proud of our education programs. A few years ago, the Kern Family Foundation in Wisconsin approached North Central about developing a program that would meet their mission, which is to create programs, fund programs that foster systemic change. And working with them, we developed a program and received the largest grant the college has ever received, $3.2 million, to develop character initiatives. These initiatives are designed to have an impact on the next generation of educational leaders. They're specifically focused to our educational programs. We believe that well-trained leaders can make the important and far-reaching impact in creating cultures of character in school districts. And we'll continue to talk more about that as the webinar moves along. With that quick introduction, I now want to turn the program over to one of our faculty members, Kathleen King, who will share more information about the coursework and the philosophy of our programs. Kathleen?
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for being with us today. I know that this is your fleeting days of summer, so I really appreciate you taking the time to learn a little bit more about our program and the ways that it can serve you on your leadership journey. I know during these unprecedented times, we really need leadership more than ever, and I feel like North Central is really uniquely situated to help you to realize that potential to serve your students and staff in new ways. My name is Kathleen King. I've been here at North Central for about 14 years, always teaching in the graduate education programs in some capacity, both our educational leadership program and help to co-design the instructional coaching program as well. My prior life before being here at North Central, I served as a principal at both the elementary and secondary level. I was an assistant principal, I was a curriculum director, even a technology director for a year at a district when they needed someone in an interim basis. So a variety of different roles. And some of my research interests involve the intersection between social emotional learning, mental wellness, character education and leadership, and done a lot in terms of work with the opportunity gap and serving underserved communities. So today, before I proceed telling you a little more about the program, I do also want to introduce one of my colleagues, Dr. Maureen Spellman. She can't be with us today, but she is the person who will be teaching the introductory class that all students entering either of those programs, the Ed Leadership or Instructional Coaching program, would be having as an instructor, either in the fall or in the spring. She was brought on board as part of our current Culture of Character grant, and is just a wonderful addition, exhaustive experience through the years, and really a really strong expert in the leader of character initiatives and character education. So I know you'll look forward to meeting her in your first class. One of the unique features, because you have a lot of different choices of programs, but I've always just been so proud of how North Central recognizes that leadership goes well beyond just knowing and reading materials. It's about really creating that school environment where everyone thrives. And we believe in order to do that, you really have to address not just the academic needs of individuals in the building and the content knowledge of your faculty and staff, but that you really help to develop them as individuals, as people, as examples of character. And we talk about this culture of character that we know research backs the fact that when you're able to create that kind of an environment, that academics thrive, but more importantly, individuals thrive. So we do integrate within our program ways to address the social emotional skills that are needed. And we know that, of course, when our students are receiving really good social emotional development, that the academic skills will go up even 11 percentage points. But we try to foster then our candidates in our program as leaders of character, as individuals who are developing themselves as persons, and in fact that's manifested in their effective leadership in schools. To tell you a little bit more about that, to kind of give you a visual of that, this is just a bit of our conceptual framework when it comes to that type of leadership. So you can see on the outside, 4 of the many different aspects of leadership that we really emphasize: that transformational leader, that moral and ethical leader, and a servant leader, one who recognizes that it's in serving others to reach their best potential and tapping on their talents that we are all able to thrive. And we do this, of course, by trying to develop the virtues of each person, including ourselves as individual leaders, in the intellectual, moral, civic, and performance areas. And all of this leads to a practical wisdom, recognition that it's not just what we know, but it's how we're able to channel that into practical realities in our lives, how we face challenges and how we navigate that. I mean, even today with the crisis that we're faced with education through the unfortunate COVID pandemic, we really see that those leaders with that practical wisdom in unprecedented times are so valuable. The coursework, the 2 programs that we have educational leadership and instructional coaching. And educational leadership is just a couple credits longer and takes just 1 semester longer than the instructional coaching program. And they really prepare you in 2 different ways. The educational leadership program helps to make you eligible for the principal endorsement and a future with different administrative roles. And that instructional coaching program helps to prepare you with eligibility for the teacher leader endorsement, and helps those individuals who really still have their heart in the classroom, but want to find a way to have that broader impact within the school community. And whether that's serving as an instructional coach in an official capacity, or whether that's serving as an instructional coach in an informal capacity with their peers. And that's a great program for that role as well. Now, there are 3 classes that we've identified that are core to both of those programs. And those 3 are listed here for you. That first class, as I mentioned, that Dr. Spellman teaches, is our mission-driven leadership class. And that is the class that if you were to enroll in the fall term, you would be beginning. We also will offer that in the spring term. And that class you take just by itself. You don't double up in any way. And it's a real discernment process where you really get to reflect on your own qualities of leadership, figure out where your strengths lie, and figure out those areas that you want to develop. Figure out what your mission, your vision is, what drives you, what gives you a sense of fulfillment, so that our program can really help to bring you to that next chapter in your journey. And then we have 2 other classes, our supervision and instruction class and our school, home, and community class. And that latter class is a class that we really do a lot of work on anti-racism and implicit bias, and really making sure that we're creating an equitable school environment that capitalizes on partnerships with family and community. So that's just a taste of the coursework, but if you take a look at this, you can kind of see what that overall plan looks like. So I'm going to just walk you through each program very briefly. On the left side, you have the Educational Leadership Program. You can see how that is 6 semesters, and it begins with that 1 class being taken by itself. In the spring, you would have 2 classes at the same time. And really, that's the only term where you have 2 classes in that program. After that, you are taking a class plus a year-long internship experience. And that internship experience can be done while you're still in a full-time teaching role. It's not a residency that requires you to take leave. Though we do have a unique opportunity through the Kern Foundation that you can apply for a full-time internship where you would get paid your usual salary while a substitute is hired for you to be able to do the internship full-time. But that's a separate program you'll learn more about when you're in the educational leadership. And then it finishes right after the internship ends. You finish with your capstone class in that program after 6 semesters, 2 years. Our instructional coaching program, again, starts with that same class, and then you go into 2 classes at a time. But you have an opportunity in this program to take some electives, and those electives allow you to start taking coursework towards some additional endorsements, should that be something that you're interested in. So you can take a variety of electives, or you can take a couple electives that would count towards an LBS 1, a special education endorsement, a couple classes towards an English learner or ESL endorsement, or we even have some electives that can lead to a certificate in trauma-informed practice. So lots of different possibilities in terms of those electives, again, that you would learn much more about once you're in the program. And that also is a 2-year program that you would finish within 5 semesters.
Great. Thank you so much, Kathleen. And now I want to bring Sharon Weiseglad to the floor to talk about the fall term, and then how the application process goes, and then the financial process. Sharon?
Okay, thank you. I will say that I know many of you have already started on this path, so I'm going to kind of do a short and sweet version here, and feel free to continue to put any questions you might have in the chat box. If I see them while I'm talking, I will answer them then, or we'll do the Q&A at the end. So August is here. I remember as a teacher and administrator, every time that calendar moved over to August, you felt it. So again, thanks for giving us your time. We are getting geared up and very excited at the college to start on August 24th. We have made some altering schedules, just kind of based on things that are happening in the world right now. So right now we're planning and scheduled to kick off that first 500 course on a hybrid model. So that looks like 7 sessions in person and 7 sessions online. It is an asynchronized online time. So you would have your time to go to class, and that would start August 26th, as the first class is a face-to-face. And that would be on a Wednesday evening from 5:45 to 8:55. And then the following week, when you're online, the plan is that the course itself would get open on a Sunday evening, and then you would have the full week to work through that content. When I looked at the schedule, it's pretty much alternating every other week. One thing that is good to know is that this same course was taught completely online in the summer. So it's already prepped for that. We would love to get through the fall with, no reasons why people couldn't come to campus, but just like your schools are trying to have multiple plans, we too are set with multiple plans. So if for any reason it needed to transition over to online, you won't skip a beat there. We do have our ending date set at December 9th. And again, we'll always be in touch and keeping track of what's going on in the world and how we're going to transition through. I also know some of you are interested and have popped in, but are thinking about starting for the spring. So really good that you're the early ones out of the gate there and thinking of that already. And so those dates, we can post that in the chat box as well, but it's never too early to enroll, so we can get you started on some of these processes. For today, we call this an instant admission event. And what that means is that we're going to thank you for your time, we're going to put aside some of the requirements that would typically be asked. And you may see those on our website, but we know that you're here. And so the things that will get waived is that application fee, submitting a resume, and that statement of purpose. So we've got those things out of the way. If you're going in the educational leader path, we do require and need a letter of recommendation from your administrator. There's a set PDF form for that, and we know that it's, that's a big ask sometimes to say write a full letter of recommendation, but the form is pretty quick and easy, and Marcia can coordinate with you on that. It's also on our website. And then we would need official transcripts, but even for starting, because we're only a few days out now from our deadline, we can take unofficial transcripts and then accept the official ones later on in the term. Our application deadline is August 10th. And that is when you'd want to get everything in those 14 days before classes start, because we have some scholarship and some other opportunities that we want to talk about. And there's that spring start date at the bottom. So our credit hour, cost per credit hour, very competitive with other institutions in our area, really in line with that. But at the same time, we have a couple different ways that we can help offset those fees as well. So I'll talk about those in a minute. I'm going to talk about the Cultures of Character Scholarship and the Educational Alliance partnership opportunity, and those can be combined. So I will talk about that in a minute. And then also, even with graduate education, there is opportunities to fill out for financial aid through FAFSA. So let me get into this Educational Alliance partnership. Some of you may already have this available and you might not even know it. On our website, we will list the schools that have a partnership with us. Marcia can also check your school for you, but here's the good thing. If it's not already in place, that's not too late. What we typically do is this, it's really, the way it's titled is what we want. We want a partnership with your district. What we ask for in return with them is that we just have an opportunity to promote our programming through your intranets. When we're able to get into the buildings, Marcia likes to go out and have face-to-face meetings with people. So that's what we ask on the school district side. What they get in return is really a benefit for you, and that benefit is 20% off your tuition. And that is something that once we've got that partnership in place, you don't have to do anything else. It gets applied to your bill for the entire length of your programming. So that's for either instructional coaching or the educational leadership program. Then we also, through this grant that we were discussing, we have one other scholarship opportunity, and that is for educational leadership candidates only. And that is a 20 up to 40% discount. You'll see there the things that we're looking for. We really want to make sure that we're utilizing the scholarship to really support either future administrators that maybe aren't as representative in the typical administrative field, or even an underserved population, or somebody also that just has a real passion for character education. So there is a application that you fill out. There's some essay questions. It is a competitive scholarship because once you're awarded it, there's just a few things you have to do to keep up on that. It's really a GPA related and some service oriented things, but that also can stay for the length of your program. So that's why we really want to say the application deadline August 10th, and then that scholarship deadline August 12th. You need to be enrolled in the first class in the 500 course, and we can't do that one retroactively. So again, if you're interested in that, feel free to submit your application once you're accepted with us, or submit your scholarship information, and then you would receive notice one way or another whether or not that was approved or not. So that's just a quick run through of a couple of those things. And as the other three of us always say, really, you got through us so that now you could listen to somebody actually in our program. And Brianna was kind enough to give her time today to kind of answer some questions and tell you a little bit about her journey.
All right, well, I am very grateful for being here. I'm grateful to be able to speak to what this program has offered and what it will offer in the future, as well as the privilege of just being able to be a part of it. You can see through the screen some of my background information. I've been with East Aurora District for over 10 years now, and I have along the way worked on improving what I have to offer in being able to serve my students more efficiently, more entirely. So that started with getting a master's in curriculum and instruction earlier on in my career, as well as completing an ESL endorsement in the past few years. Like everybody else, as an educator, I feel like I am a lifelong learner, but I don't think that I have the time for wasting that learning on things that are less than significant for me as an educator and me as a member of our communities. So I really worked on finding some things that would benefit myself, but also the communities in which I serve and the populations of educators with whom I work. So that started with curriculum and instruction, because I find that is a foundation of how we work in our classrooms, in how we serve our students, and in how we make sure that we are educated and they are educated in things that truly matter. From there, I recognize that in the district where I work, an ESL endorsement is critical to being able to meet the needs of the students exactly where they are. And so that was something that I felt was very important for me to receive. After that, though, I wasn't exactly sure where to go with my education. I had a wonderful administrator who went through the program at North Central and was encouraging of me to consider it, to look into it, and to hopefully pursue it. I wasn't certain, though, that was something that I was ready for. An administrative position it sounds daunting at times. It sounds overwhelming at times with the responsibilities it carries, the decisions that are having to be made, and even more so right now with everything going on with the COVID virus. It seemed initially like something that was almost too monumental for me to take on. But I worked with a couple of individuals who also entered into the program and who were really able to speak to the strengths of it, the strengths of North Central, to encourage the full culture of character and the emphasis on that instead of solely leadership or solely administration, because that really is something that is significant to me. I was interested in looking into the program. I realized that with my passion for curriculum, that eventually I would like to go into a position as a curriculum director in a district, if not my district, in another one. But I truly feel that I'm supposed to serve where I am. But in order to do that, obviously education needs to be pursued, and I need to continue on with that. So that's when the North Central program became a real viable option for me as an educator, where I was able to look into it and see how it aligned with my vision for the future of my career. And that was a significant thing. I will say that initially the cost of the program was a little scary to me, but with the financial options that were outlined previously, I realized that it is every bit as accessible as any other program. Beyond that, though, I realized that the investment is worth it because of the way the individuals who have gone through the program previously speak to its value in how it prepares you to not solely be an educator, or be an administrator, but to also be an individual who is focused on the needs of our students, on the needs of the community, and who is proactive to make sure that those needs are at the forefront of what we do within education. So because of those things, North Central really became the best option for me. And from there, the ways North Central is willing to work with me have just been phenomenal. So just a little bit of my personal situation. I did have a baby this past June. And so when I started the program, I was pregnant, and I was a little concerned that balancing of time with work and private life and school would be a little bit difficult. However, the school was more than willing to work with me on what I needed to do. So the first class you take is one class at a time, and that was something that I thought I could do. And in the middle of the pandemic coming down, it still was something I could do because the school was really, and the professor was really, that was actually Kathleen, she was willing to really work with us to support all of us to make sure that we felt like the focus of the class was on finding our vision and really honing in on our mission and our future, where we were headed in our careers, and not just worrying about whether or not we understood what the class was asking of us or what an assignment was. So that was a significant thing for me to know that I truly am in the right place. And from there, the district, or the school, I apologize, the school was willing to also work with me to enable me to extend the time that it'll take me to complete the program. So for example, I was unable to take a class over the summer because it coincided with the due date of my baby girl. So that was not something that was reasonable for me at the time, and that was absolutely okay with the program. This fall, I'm taking one course instead of two because I'm working on figuring out that balance of work life, home life, having a baby, going to school. And so again, the school has been more than willing to really work with me on what I need so that the balance is there, and I feel confident with being able to complete the program, as opposed to running myself ragged and feeling overwhelmingly stressed at all times. I honestly can attest to the fact that I have not felt added stress from anything that the program has done, that I've only felt more confidence and more guidance and support from it. And so that really has been a significant factor in every aspect of starting the program, continuing the program, making sure that I really it reinforces my desire to complete the program with North Central College.
Great. Thank you so much, Brianna. And now we have time for questions and answers. I'm not seeing any questions, but want to just jot those in, feel free to write in. You will, candidates are able to apply for the Cultures of Character Scholarship after they are accepted. There's a specific link that comes through from the graduate school office. We can get that to you. Just wanted to see if any of you have any questions. Okay. Oh, yes, thank you, Kathleen. There has been one change for the class schedule time because of room assignments and the change of our academic calendar to allow for the COVID precautions. That class will start at 6:15 rather than 5:45. And I believe it goes to 9:35. So it'll be Wednesday still, 6:15 to 9:35. One question that I wanted to bring up that we haven't talked about, or I don't know if we've covered, but working with that internship while working full time, how does that work?
Absolutely. So we've been doing this for quite some time, and so I want to also preface that if COVID and being all online ends up happening, that we pivot and have pivoted. I'm not at all concerned that we won't be able to usher individuals through all of our program requirements in modified formats as needed. So I just anticipate that if I was embarking on this program, I would be wondering about that and whether or not it would interrupt my courses at all, and there won't be an interruption. We will continue with the courses, including things like the internship, and just adjust accordingly, and have been doing so over the last 6 months as well. But speaking specifically to the internship under normal circumstances, without getting into all the COVID pivots that have taken place, that individuals, after they have been in the program for a couple semesters, in the Ed Leadership program this is, that they begin a year-long internship. And that internship is a state requirement for the principal endorsement. So in any Ed Leader program that you're in, there is a requirement for a 12-month internship. And at North Central, we've really got this down where we have you start that process with the supervisor who will follow with you and meeting with you once a month to make sure that you and the other interns that supervisor is supervising have an opportunity to unpack the process and how they're meeting requirements as part of it. And then during that time, there are these state requirements that have to be met, these project requirements, and those project requirements end up being something that we kind of stagger through that year-long process, so that it's very doable to be able to gain these experiences in your off hours, not taking away from your teaching or your other assigned duties, but being able to do that as part of committees that you're on, before and after school types of work that you're doing independently, so that it does not require any type of leave of absence.
Thank you. Are there other questions? I've just answered a couple of questions about the scholarship. This question is the internship paid, or is there a stipend we receive during the internship?
So a typical internship is not something that you're getting paid for. You're registering for that internship like you would a course, except that it extends over a year-long period. There is, however, you might be thinking of the thing I alluded to, which is this special opportunity that we've received some grant funding for. And that is something that can be applied for in the Ed Leader program. And if in fact it's something that the district is willing to do, and you end up moving successfully through the application process, the way we handle that is we work with your school to have a substitute paid through the grant or through district contributions. We have a substitute for your normal responsibilities paid directly, and then your salary just continues uninterrupted in its normal fashion. So you're not actually receiving any direct funds for that, but nor are you losing any of your regular income as you participate. And then what you are doing instead of your normally assigned job is that you're a part of the administrative team full-time doing your internship for one semester. Your internship will still last 12 months, but you'll have this special half-year opportunity to work full-time within the administrative team on a lot of those responsibilities. So it's a really neat opportunity, something that we're very proud of, but something that is applied for, not something that every candidate will be able to do. It has to work with the school district.
Thank you, Kathleen. And there's a follow-up to that from the person who asked that question. She's saying, I'm asking because I know sometimes people can't work additional jobs during the internship. That would be a teacher that. So are we able to work during the internship, I guess, for that additional job?
Absolutely. We, unlike student teaching, where sometimes like in our undergrad program, student teachers are not supposed to be in sports or doing other jobs on the side just so that they can get acclimated to student teaching. In the internship program, we don't legislate what you're involved in while you're doing the internship. We simply try to make sure you're well aware of what it entails so that you can balance the many different responsibilities you have accordingly.
Yeah, excellent.
Good question.
Any other questions? As you see up here in our final slide, you can always access information at northcentralcollege.edu/graduate. And I also wanted to encourage you, if you're on Facebook, join our Master of Education and Educational Leadership Facebook group. You don't necessarily have to be a North Central alumnus or part of the program. It's a forum for discussion about education and educational leadership topics. So you can find that online under some of the North Central College graduate programs. It's the North Central Graduate School of Graduate and Professional Studies, that Facebook page, and then we're the group of educational leadership underneath that. With that said, I think we will finish up. We appreciate all of you being part of this webinar today, and hope to see you at North Central. And please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. And thanks to all of our presenters for your time and for adding so much information and value to our webinar. So thank you very much, and have a great day and a great start to your school year. We're thinking about all of you. Take care.
Best wishes. Bye.
Okay.